Hey there, Michael here with Growing Farmers and the Farm on Central. And today we're going to talk about the 4 most important things to find the right piece of property so that you don't go bankrupt. And I say that because I actually have seen farms go bankrupt because they were on the wrong piece of property, and either they didn't have any water and the crops burned up, or they were in the wrong political climate and the zoning or the regulation got them, or they had the wrong type of soil. And I've seen this multiple times. We actually had a farm in upstate New York that farmed very well. They were very well known for their greens, but they were heavy clay soil, and that put them out of business. So let's talk through the 4 things, and then we will dive into each one individually. So the first one is gonna be soil, second is gonna be water, third one is gonna be location, and fourth one is going to probably be political climate. And again, that's not necessarily, let's say, red versus blue. It's more of, are you in this town? Are you in the township? What are the regulations in your county? Do you have protections under agricultural? So first is we're going to talk soil. So here you can go see here, this is a lettuce succession. Now, previously, we had our strawberries here. So this has strawberries earlier in the year, and we can find a few crowns here someplace probably. I don't see any crowns. What I do see is some of our Biotello plastic, which is starting to break right down. You can see this was tilled under this spring, and literally by the time we tilled this lettuce under, it will be completely broken down into the soil. But let's take a look at the soil here. Look at that quality of that. It's a very sandy loam. You can see the sand particles in there. We are desperately adding as much organic matter possible to it because we need that organic matter to hold the moisture in it. We picked this soil, even though we knew it was sandy, because I would much rather have sandy soil and irrigate than have wet soil and not being able to plant. So literally 24 hours after a rain, we can come back out, mark beds, plant, we're completely fine. I know some farmers that's 10 days. And if you're doing rapid turn greens, there's absolutely no way you're gonna be able to keep up with your successions. And customers want lettuce every single week, not a few weeks here and a few weeks there. So you wanna make sure that your soil is right. The second thing we talk about is water. Now, water here, because we have such dry soil, is so important. And right now, we're actually operating on only 20 gallons a minute. Actually, our well is 10 gallons a minute. My sister-in-law, who lives next door, is 10 gallons a minute. We steal her water. But between that, we have 20 gallons a minute, which means we can pretty much cover the farm twice through every single week and put about 1 inch of water on that. So you can see here, we've got a small micro irrigation. And it works for our size. We're planting 100-foot beds. We're doing 8 blocks at a time, 8 bed blocks at a time, and that works really well. And we have our lead lines hooked onto quick connects, so we're quick connecting onto those and just moving through the farm. So that's the second thing, is going to be your water. Now, let's go take a look at location, because that is key. Okay, so we talked about location, how important that is. And here we are, our farm is on a 12,000 car a day road. And so that drives incredible traffic. And we've chosen to do an on-farm retail store, which has worked out really well for us. So we open 6 days a week, and we have it set up mostly self-service. So people come on, shop, enter their information into our kiosk, and away they go. And so obviously a nice thing about being next to this road is we can put our sign out. It has our website on it. We have changeable letters on that, which allows us to change out the different specials and things. And it really does make a difference with what people stop. So when we put melons on there, which we'll have this afternoon, we'll have some watermelons starting this afternoon, we will put watermelons, and literally we'll start having more people come in asking for watermelons. So having that aspect of location is so key. Now, let's say you're in Utah, you live in a town of 500. You're gonna have a very different business model than we are. We're producing a lot of salads, a lot of ready to eat, a lot of prepared things that people wanna grab and go because they can. They can drive right in, grab it and go. But if you're in very rural Utah, Wyoming, even the central states, even in Vermont, there's some very rural areas, you're going to want to have to travel with your product. So you want something that's light, or you want to be able to cram a lot into your vehicle, only leave your farm 1 day a week and sell at a 4-hour farmer's market. So there's gonna be a different model you're going for depending on what your location is. So that's just an important point, is figure out what you want your farm to be and put that business model through where your location is of your farm. All right, I want to show you that last thing we talked about, which is political climate. And, a lot of people are like, wherever I land is probably going to be fine. But, truth be told, we landed in a little community which is poorly run, to say the least. So this is our big greenhouse here. It's 36 by 200. We do propagation on this end. We're drying some herbs over here. We do growing down at that end. But we put it up this spring, and we brought in 2.5 million BTUs from the road to run all these greenhouses, because eventually there'll be 3 or 4 greenhouses lined up here. And this is the first one we're building. It's technically called Greenhouse 2 because of the location. But we had to run gas. And so we ran the meter to here. We ran to the industrial piping. You can see it throughout there, right to here. And then we said, okay, let's hook it up. Well, they said, well, you need a commercial permit. You need a sign off from your city on that. And I was like, no, we're agricultural. We didn't have to pull a permit to build the structure, but we're agricultural. And so I called onto the city and said, hey, we don't need a permit. I've read your code and it says we don't. They said you do. We argued for about a week. I gave up because I needed to get the gas installed. Well, I went out and got some quotes. You can see the gas line starts right there, terminates right there, okay? It's like 30 something feet of gas line. It's a couple $100 in parts. I had one guy come out. That would before I found out I had to have it commercially inspected, state licensed, whatever the sort of thing that I needed. And he was gonna do it for $500. Well, the first quote I had to put the commercial aspect in was $3,800 just to run that little bit of gas line, okay? The second quote was $1,000. We obviously went with him. Again, it took him another couple weeks to actually get it done. And the inspector walks out, and the inspector says, he got on his phone. I was like, uh-oh, what's going on? He says, I didn't need to do this. He's like, this was a complete power grab from the city. You did not need a permit from us, and I can't sign off on this because I don't actually have anything to sign off on, which meant that it threw it back into the energy people's, the gas companies' information and system, which it sat for another 3 weeks because they couldn't figure out how to do this without an actual inspection from the city. So needless to say, where your farm is located and the political climate in that town. So I know there's some towns which are incredibly farm friendly. In our town, the people love us. We love our community. There's a ton of great people. There's a constant stream of people in and out of our bus talking about how they love this. But the powers that be make it very difficult for businesses. And it's not just for us, it's for all businesses. It's been something I'm actually looking to change. But that is something you want to think about going into a community. And so when we recommend people finding a new farm, we recommend moving into an area, rent for a year. Do not purchase for that first year. Rent, do another job, work for somebody else. Just get your feet underneath you, figure out the lay of the land, meet people. Because A, after that year, you'll probably get a much better deal. And B, you'll know the backstories of all the land and the people, and you know who to trust and who not to trust. And you'll have a much better idea of getting a profitable farm started for you and your family. So there you go. Those are the 4 things I wanted to share with you today. Number 1, soil. 2 is water. 3 is location. And 4 is the political climate of your area. Super important. We also have an ebook and we have a course on this as well. So if you want to go grab those, I'm sure there's a link below somewhere or above or to the side that you can go click on to grab that information. But there you go. Enjoy. Make sure you follow our page or click the subscribe button to make sure you get all the updates from our channels.